Welcome to episode 52 of the Men's Adventure Fiction Podcast. You guys are in for a treat today. We are so happy to have you here, so please enjoy. Hey, Goodish.
Yeah, Hummel.
You ready?
Let's get 'em. My man.
Welcome back to the Men's Adventure Fiction Podcast. We are here live and in person for a very special episode, the year anniversary
Crazy.
of the Men's Adventure Fiction Podcast.
What better time, dude? What better time to be doing this live and in person?
Crazy stuff. Too cool.
Yeah.
Wait,
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Congratulations to you too. A year of podcasting is no small feat, but this is just the beginning. We're going to be here for the long haul, baby. A little cool note. We are smoking the Oliva Black Swan cigar, which I bought a box of when Treasure Is My Trade reached a bestseller list.
Dude. Congratulations on that, too.
Pretty cool stuff.
The accomplishments in this last year, dude.
Incredible stuff, which we will highlight during this episode for sure. A lot to talk about, lots of exciting things ahead. But this is a little special episode, Luca, if you want to fill them in on what's going on.
Yeah. Since this is the not 100th episode, our 1 year anniversary of the podcast and in person for the first time, we wanted to do a special look back a little bit on just some introspection on what's been going on and everything we've accomplished, because this has been a wild ride for sure since we first were messaging each other. And
Yeah.
also I think it's just going to be cool to have a fun conversation for you guys to enjoy.
Right.
When it's live and in person. There's something different about that, you know, for sure.
Yeah, a little more free form.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people have liked the episodes that are that way. So we're giving you more of it today. But let me ask you, did you ever kind of see this coming?
Like the podcast and everything?
Like, did you expect to be... We talked about this a little bit earlier
Yeah, like
today.
the moment, like,
Yeah.
sparked it. I mean, no, there's definitely no way. I mean, not until way later, you know what I mean? Not until probably, like, we met up for filming the first short film we ever did together, which was like that Nate Colt,
Thomas Redford
crossover.
We will link it below. It's very sick.
Yeah, that's probably when I could start to formulate the future of like, all right, this is gonna be sick, and this is gonna go on for a while and get bigger and better.
Yeah.
But before that, like when we were just messaging and stuff, it's like, dude, I had no idea. I thought we were just maybe like I would get some sweet book recommendations because you're really smart on that kind of stuff, and I was like, this guy. He's going to give me the best book recommendations. I don't know. But it became much more. I told Nathanael the other day, like, I've never changed anybody's contact. So I was like, if you see your name on my phone and it's the most disrespectful name ever of Nate Instagram in parentheses, sorry, it's going to be that probably forever. But, yeah, you become much more than Nate parentheses Instagram in my life, you know what I mean?
I agree. I have this, the thing I was talking about earlier is I have this kind of like concept, and it all really stemmed from my wife has a twin sister, and I met the twin sister first, and we met in Belize of all places. I got off the plane, and she was the first person I met. And I have this like, I don't know, it would make a good movie, almost,
Yeah.
of like, and that's how my mind works, always cinematically, but like, I shook her hand right off the plane, and just the other day, leaving the VERITAS Film Festival event, her and my wife had to leave early because our second daughter was like crying her head off, and she drove away, and then me and Catherine loaded my other daughter into the car and drove away together. So like right when we shook hands, we got a glimpse of that. I'm like,
The most confusing flash forward of all time.
Exactly. And then even like more confusing that I'm married to her twin sister. But I was saying to Luke, like, the first Instagram message I sent him, or he sent me, where I was like, dude, this looks sick. Tell me more about that. And then we flashed to a snapshot of us sitting on the deck smoking cigars, talking about men's adventure fiction, dude. Nothing, you never see stuff coming. It's just how it goes. Like, it's so cool to have opportunities to meet people. I mean, I was thinking about that the other day too. Terrence Lahue just had Unwanted Passenger reach the bestseller list. Incredible accomplishment, which makes
absolutely.
3 of the Veritas publications of the 9 published between May 1st and June 1st.
Yep.
Bestsellers.
Heck yeah.
Awesome stuff.
30%.
Over 33%. That's a whole
That's
third,
great,
dude.
That's amazing.
Super sick. But I was like thinking about, I was talking to my wife, I was like, dude, if you told me a year ago that Terrence Lahue would be like a common name that I throw around, and I never knew him before the podcast.
Right.
Like literally my whole entire sphere of engagement has increased so exponentially. I mean, there's people on the Discord that I talk to every day.
Right.
And I never would have known without this.
Dude, yeah, that's the thing. You got to be open and, like, social, you know? There's so many, we've made a whole episode about this, but, like, even myself, I'm not naturally inclined to be social. I'm naturally inclined to be very reserved and, like, just on my own and not want to talk to people. And you miss, I mean, dude, imagine if I was just, like, didn't even engage with you for the first time or anything, and I was like, nah, I want to talk to anybody. I don't need any more friends. Like, that kind of attitude can just, like, siphon off a whole part of your life or your experience that you have no idea where it could take you. It's wild to think about that.
Right.
Where, like, you have to be open and willing to be social and put yourself out there and connect, because that's how you're meant to be. That's how humans were created, to be social beings.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
You have no idea what you're missing out on.
Yeah. I think too, just got a sick hardcover copy of Blood and Treasure.
Yeah, dude.
From Ryan Pote, and he signed it. And I don't think this is a spoiler, but it's coming out very soon, so you should buy it.
It's on 22nd.
Yeah, right around the corner. What's the date? We're recording on the 13th, so right like 10 days away. He signed it Memento Mori, which is something that crops up throughout the whole thing, which is remember you will die. And I think, dude, until I met you, that was so far removed from my mind. And I think that I would have just kept puttering through life, like being like, yeah, I'm a writer, and I'm going to write something eventually.
Right.
And I'm a filmmaker, but it's not a priority now because I got to get everything in place first. And I think that like hand in hand with, we have to be people who are willing to go out of our way to connect with other people. And that's one side, and then the second side is like, oh yeah, I'll do that tomorrow, or I'll do that next week, I'll do that next year. It's like, man, if you're not making connections and you're not leaving something behind, there is no legacy for you to have, right?
Right.
Like, if I were to die tomorrow, my family has these stories that I've written, but they also have you and everyone in the Discord and everybody whose life I've touched in some way, to be like, okay, who was my dad?
Right.
Who was my husband? And then they have that to do. But if you're so like, introspection is obviously a good thing, but if you let it become your identity, then you lose so much.
When you're isolated, a lot definitely dies, you know? A lot of yourself will just not flourish. Like, a lot of who you are, you won't even discover or know or have chances to see. Like, similar to your point of, did you expect this or could you see this? Like, dude, I couldn't really picture myself talking to a family member that wasn't directly in my nuclear family in my house competently before.
Yeah.
And now, you know, we speak with people a lot, and we go to these events, and like we were on stage announcing things. It's like, bear with the audio, guys. But it's myself, like my confidence in my ability to speak with people and connect and network. Like, I think networking is one of the skills I'm good at and getting good at.
Yeah.
And I would have never, ever thought that, you know what I mean?
Right.
If I didn't push myself out of my comfort zone. If I didn't, first off, think of myself in those black and white terms of, like, I'm not a social guy, I can't.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, like, just shove yourselves in boxes. You're like,
right.
I'm not that, or I can't do that, or, you know?
Right.
So being flexible with that, for sure, is a starting point, because now, I think, from the outside, people probably look at me like, dude, you've probably always been confident. You've probably always been, like, really good with people. And it's like, dude, the exact opposite. Like, the exact opposite. It's
right.
crazy.
I mean, even we talked about it a bunch before we did these events. And I'm, like, a fairly outgoing person.
I think I did.
In general. But
Thank you.
I was also nervous. Like, dude, we're going to be interacting here with tons of different people at these events, and I'm going to be up on stage saying it. And I was like, dude, what if I just start uncontrollably saying the wrong thing? Just saying the stupidest things I could think of. which is nice to be confronted with things like that, because we talked about before, the comprehensive man has the ability to like he's in control of his passions. He doesn't let his passions control you. So it's like, all right, well, this is a good test of like, is my fear or anxiety going to cause me to be like an absolute stew nut?
Right.
No, dude, I gotta have like a little control over what I do and what I say. So it's good to that point. It's good to put yourself in these situations, because that's how you became the outgoing person that you are. Like, made these connections because you were willing to like put yourself out there.
Right. So, I mean, that's the first point is definitely just don't limit yourself, and please, like, take chances on yourself and push yourself further, because there's so much this life has to offer if you're, like, willing to engage in it and willing to step into the arena and stuff like that, where definitely uncomfortable, definitely going to maybe be a growth opportunity for you, and it's going to hurt a little bit, but, dude, I would have it no other way than, like, being here in Florida with you and doing everything we're doing, and like all this that we accomplished with everybody, like it, like when the short film was happening and the short story collection and the men's adventure fiction May stuff, like we were stressed, like there's a lot of work,
right?
But it's work. Like I'd much rather be stressed with meaning and purpose coursing through my veins, and me feeling like I'm doing something good, rather than just watch infinite freaking movies and like scroll on my phone and not have nearly as much meaning in my life. I just
for sure. And obviously balance is important to some degree. Like you don't want to just be an idiot and go like full force to the point where you're burnt out and you can't do anything else. But it's when we do the hard things that we grow the most. Like I hate that it's true, but for like even with just my walk with Jesus and my Christianity, it's like when things are easy, it's so easy to be like, hey, I don't need that. And then like as soon as things are hard, it's like I actually have to rely on God to get through the days.
Dude.
So it's the hard things that draw you closer to God. It's the hard things that make you a better man or woman, right? Like when we're going through this, we had Men's Adventure Fiction May, but before that we had to edit and polish up Treasure Is My Trade.
Right.
Then Men's Adventure Fiction May comes out. We got 8 submissions that we have to go through and line out, and then we have on top of that the Western Short Film Festival
and Gun Law
and the Western Tales Collection, and it's just all cropping up for July 4th, 5th, 6th, dude.
And we're just going nuts because we both have full-on families, full-time jobs. It's like it's busy times.
And then you have to wake up at like 5 a.m. to record podcast episodes too. But it's at the end you have perspective to say like, okay, there's better ways to do this. But what we've accomplished and what we've pushed ourselves to do have made us incredibly better people than we were at the start of it, right?
Sure.
Like Luke and I had a couple conversations like, are you having fun anymore? And it's like, yeah, but it's like also
not sustainable,
hard,
right?
And that's the thing is, it's like they always say it's the classic thing that they throw at you: do what you love and you never work a day in your life. It's like you work, but it's exactly what Luke said. I'd rather be struggling, be having a hard time, but have fulfillment and enjoyment on the other side, dude. It's the man in the arena quote kind of deal, right? Like you can literally milquetoast your way through life and never do anything. And you'll have a good life, a comfortable, easy life. But you'll never get to where you want to be and what you're capable of. So
the idea struck me a couple, like 4 or 5-ish years ago, where the idea of being like a consumer or a producer, like I just got hit with like a big guilt. A little bit is like the word, but not so precise. But just like I knew I couldn't just sit and consume the rest of my life. Like, what am I going to just sit here and watch millions of YouTube videos? Like I was saying, like I watch a million movies. Like, I got to put something out there. I've got to contribute in some way to this. Like, and I know not everybody is not always going to look the same. Like for us, we're writers. You've always wanted to do film. I've always wanted to do film, and we've always wanted to write. But for whatever it is for you, like, there is something you want to do. There is something you had a dream to do when you were younger. And it's like those types of things, I think, are they're so important. And life can, like, easily kind of suffocate them or, like...
try to rob you of it.
Try to rob you of it and make it very easy to even justify not doing it. You're like, Because, I mean, think about how easy it was for us to be like, well, no, we got kids, we got a full-time job. How am I supposed to, that's like,
and friends.
yeah, I've got friends, I gotta hang out, I gotta make my life. And it's like, you know, we're obviously like not even turning profits and stuff yet. This is all like the building phase for this stuff.
Right.
So it's like, it's very easy to justify not doing what you're intended to do, and what was originally on your heart. But I'm really passionate about doing that for myself, but also, you know, making sure people get the chance to take a chance on themselves.
Yeah,
I
for
think that's
sure.
what I love about the VERITAS stuff is, you know,
100%.
sometimes it's people's first books or the first time they're going to attempt making a short film, and that's just really cool to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like giving people the opportunity to
Thank you.
showcase. I mean, it was thrown around a lot during the Pulp, Pipe, and Poetry episode with Zach Graffman and Frank Theodat. Is like, there is no want for content. The want is for people to pick it out, to curate it, to make it make sense, right? Like, I could go all day and read every self-published book on Amazon, and some of them will be really good, some of them will be not so good, some of them will be good but like rough hewn, like a diamond in the rough kind of deal. And that's kind of the heart behind this, is it's like each one of us has a dream and a desire to make come true. And it may be writing, it may be woodworking, it may be starting a coffee business. I mean, it could literally be anything. It could be like making blown glass. Like, literally the world is endless, but there's something that was put in your heart to do. And if you don't at least give it a try, you'll spend the rest of your life, maybe it'll be safe and you'll be good, but you'll always be like, what if I had actually tried? Could I have succeeded in this dream? And that's to say, to caveat this whole conversation, that it's like, we're not there yet, like Luke said, right? We're just pushing to try and make the dreams the reality. And that's what it's all about, and it's cool. I mean, that's literally every single day. I try to write on the days that I drive to work. There and back if I can. Try to keep that pulp output going, just dictating into my phone, setting it up with Bluetooth stuff so that I'm hands-free and I'm not breaking the law, and just talking to the phone, and it catches it. It records my voice. It gets it. Oh, man, that can be draining. It can be tiring. I can get done a hard shift at work and be like, I don't want to do that. And then I'll hop into the Discord before I leave, and I'll see these guys like, oh, I just finished a 56,000 word novel. Oh, I've been really working on this research. It's going super well. Man, I got this really cool idea for this next idea. And these dudes are pushing. These late dudes and dudettes, like, everybody's in there, and they're pushing and they're making stuff happen. And it's like, dude, who the hell am I to not give it my all to?
Right.
You know, like, who do I think I am to be like, oh yeah, you guys are working hard, I'm just gonna coast. Like, I worked hard already today, I'm not gonna work hard anymore. It's like, no, man, you gotta strike while the iron's hot. And it's sure, like, part of me is like, oh yeah, well, I'll just make it until I'm making money, and then I can do it a lot slower. But at the same time, it's like, dude, no, it's the stuff that every man and every woman, specifically, I mean, this is true of the whole John Eldredge's Wild at Heart thing. He says, like, there's the stages of manhood. It's the beloved son, the cowboy, and then the warrior. And the warrior is cowboy is when you do a lot of, like, dangerous, crazy things, but the warrior is when you find kind of like a passion to pursue and a thing to strive for and fight for. And it can be linked to, like, the lover or husband area, where, like, your goal is to help your family and create your family, but it also is, I mean, God gave us a call to do this, right? Like, you all have something that you got to do, and when you are your best when you're pursuing that, you know, as long as you keep the balance proper.
The balance is a hard part, like, for sure. It sure
is.
We're obviously not, like, experts on this, and that's where I can admit that my fault is balance is something I want to get better at, and I'm in counseling, and I talk about it a lot when I'm in counseling, like in my therapy sessions. I'm talking about trying to balance things better and, like, get a better workflow, because you can definitely take everything we're saying to an extreme, and, you know, we'd sit here and be an 8-hour conversation if we gave every caveat to these things. I'm like, well, also this, you know. For sure, take everything with a grain of salt.
Definitely feed your kid while they're screaming, instead of make sure you get that idea jotted down. That's not the right move there.
So, yeah, it's like, for me, I want to push myself. I want to become closer to who I'm supposed to be and who I want to, like, live up to in my own head and, like, build this ideal. But of course that can be taken to the extreme, and it's like you can never be satisfied, and you can, spin yourself in a circle. And you and I were talking about this the other day. It's like I really want to start defining what success looks like to me, so that I'm not going against a moving target just to keep myself unhappy. Where it's like I say this number, and then it's like as soon as I get there, it's like no, higher. Yeah. And it's like more over here. It's like we're so easy as humans. It's so easy to do that for sure. Like
100%.
I need more. I'm not who I want to be, and so the validation and stuff can't all come from your work output, or else you're gonna
burn out.
If that's your
some aren't needed scenario.
Yeah, dude. So you gotta build something that's sustainable and kind of more integrated into your life, and that's what you and I are in process of, and we're getting there, but certainly not there yet.
Yeah, it is certainly a tricky balance, and I think it is. Listening to Ryan Pote talk on Terrence's podcast, he talked a little bit on our podcast, and he said, anyone can write a novel, but not everyone can write a novel and not ruin their entire life.
Right.
And that's just such a good thing to think about. I mean, when I was writing stuff really fast, and then when I was spending my downtime with my wife, which to me, there's definitely been a shift in the past year or so, where it's been like, okay, if I'm sitting around and just spending time with my family and we're not actively interacting, I feel like it's time I could be doing something productive, which is obviously on my deathbed I'm gonna man, I wish I just spent time doing nothing with my family more. But in the moment it's oh man, I'm being lazy, and it's so easy to kind of think okay, this is not important. Even just sitting there watching a movie with my wife, she wants me to be engaged with the movie. She doesn't want to have to tell me the scene that happened, because usually she's the one not engaged and I have to tell her the scene. So when I'm not engaged, we just got to start the movie all over again. So that was kind of the realization is okay, maybe I shouldn't be editing and rewriting my work while I'm sitting next to my wife on the couch or the girls are playing around our feet. It's it would be good to be present in all times, not just I'm going to only be present on this one aspect of my life because I'm finding success and it's something I'm passionate about. And it's because that's the problem with writing. I mean, Louis L'Amour said it in Education of a Wandering Man. He said travel for sure, but you can go anywhere in the world in a book. And it's the same kind of thing. That's why I love to write. The dream of being Nate Colt is such a cool idea, but it's unattainable for the most part. But when I get to write that, it's okay, dude, this is a place I'd like to stay in because it's so much fun. It's who I've dreamed of being for so long. So to get to write and even just live it out a little bit vicariously through even putting the words on the page, yeah, I could stay here for a long time, And then my wife's don't you love me still? I'm like, yeah, I do. You gotta believe me, I do. So yeah, very, very, the balance is crazy difficult to kind of hone in on.
And just the awareness piece of the fact that we are having this conversation is important for both of us, and that we're talking about it more often now. When we talk on the phone, it's it's good. That shows we're in the right direction of picking up on it and making those adjustments rather than not even knowing and being well,
just being
a lot
stupid.
Just being well, full force ahead. And that's where I love this analogy of the horse and the rider who are flying by, and then someone's where are you going? And then he's I don't know, ask the horse. It's the horse can be the writing or the passion the thing that you're doing from time to time, where it's we're just so swept up in it, and this is exciting, this is awesome. Veritas is growing like crazy, and you and I are just nose to the grindstone this, and then where are you going? What's happening here? What is your legacy to your point?
What's the trajectory?
What is going on here? And you're I don't know.
Right.
I'm just doing it.
Right.
So you don't want to go that way.
And that's something that I think about too. I said that to my wife one time. I want the girls to know me because I have a long string of work that they can read to know me. And she's well, they could know you by just talking to you, right? Which is what I thought was so cool. Probably my favorite takeaway. The Beau L'Amour episodes where we got to talk to him were absolutely incredible.
I know what you're about to say. Yeah, that was amazing. When
he said whatever you think of Louis L'Amour was just a fraction of who he really was.
The writing being the least of him.
Yeah, it's such a great line, dude. And I pray that is true of me one day. He's a hell of a writer, but he's even a cooler dude. He's a much better human being.
And I think about that for sure. Dude, there's no chance that my wife or my kid, when they first think of me, is writer. They don't. That's the last thing they're thinking.
That's a really good point, dude. It's so crazy to be a man and have so many different hats and responsibilities and thoughts, and it's like you got responsibility to yourself to pursue the thing you love, but you also have responsibility to provide for your family and help them out and better them. And that, I think that's like strikes true to our favorite characters from men's adventure fiction. They are the ones who are like, yeah, I could definitely do it for me. But if the whole movie is just about them doing it for them, you're like, this is a terrible guy. Yeah. I think that's part of. We've talked about Mike Hammer a ton of times. Mike Hammer definitely has more of the doing it. Like you're the whole time you're reading the book, you're like, what's he doing it for? Who's he doing this for?
Right.
This guy just seems like he likes to beat people up.
Just
which, like, I mean, get after him.
Selfishly involved.
Yeah, take him down, dude. But I think that's like what's so good about the genre and so true to the genre is these characters who embody the struggle that it is to be a man, right? Like they have their selfish desires.
Right.
They have their fears where there's like, okay, well, they just kidnapped this girl that I was like kind of friends with, and I got to go now fight like a bunch of mafia dudes. And I don't want to do that.
Right. That's a big ask from me. So.
I'm probably going to get hurt. I could die. They could die. We should just cut our losses. It's like, no. No.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what happened in Fighting Art of Man. And it was not good in the end of the Cowboy and a Criminal. Sal's like, dude, I'm done. Just take the girl. And I was like, you son of a bitch. You're going to get that girl. We're going to go save her. So I think that's like, you got to have the heart of these heroes that we love so much. That's the whole point that we get to every
I guess that's
week.
why the genre does resonate so much. To your point, it's all these things externalized and turned up to 11 and kind of made engaging and fun rather than like pulling your hair out stressful in therapy. It's like a really cool way to look at it and examine it in a lens that's a little more appropriate. That's what I've always gotten to with people is that these stories are as much literature to me as any kind of like hard-hitting literary fiction piece. Like, because it's engaging in exactly the type of stuff that, to your point, like men, and I'm sure women too, but like speaking for men and speaking for ourselves, like it is really much so embodying who I want to be, what is heroism and what is the whole archetype of a hero. What is that supposed to mean? What am I supposed to, who am I supposed to be or try to live up to? You got me onto Tarzan, so like you guys following the podcast are like, well, the lag time on him telling you about Tarzan to you reading was kind of absurd, but as I started that, I'm seeing there's definitely, this is going to be really great for exploring these kind of themes because how Edgar Rice Burroughs splits it into like Savage Ape Man mode. And like, there's those distinct moments where it's like he was turning back into a savage beast. There's that, which I've taken to like kind of represent our kind of desires and our wants and needs from that level of like, I want to be a writer, I want to be in entertainment, I have my own mission and my like thing I want to do. But then he's also the civilized Tarzan too. Like, he has a name actually, doesn't he? He has like a full-on name.
John Clayton Lord
Graves. So like he turns into him, and it's more like representative of having a family, having a wife, being that comprehensive man, and being the other side of that. And it's the same kind of thing that I tried to infuse into Noah Redford, where I got the Noah from The Notebook, because I wanted to be like the lover as much as Robert Redford is kind of like the adventurer spirit. Like, I wanted him to be the adventurer lover and like a full comprehensive thing. And I like how Tarzan explores that too with the huge extremes.
Very
savagery and civility.
Right.
So I think those are two examples, right? Noah Redford and then Tarzan. But I think the genre as a whole does this well a lot. Where it does, when we said it represents these things, it resonates with these things inside of us. That's why this adventure fiction is so fulfilling to read and so engaging to read and so inspiring in a lot of ways too. Like we aspire to be a little bit more every time we read one of these. Yeah, man.
It's so much fun. I love it. I think that it's a really good opportunity for us to like explore things like you talked about before. I think wargaming was the term, right? Like we're faced with these things that we can process and we can see how Tarzan handles. I mean, exactly what you said, right? Like the savageness versus the civilized man, and then ultimately, right, on the savage side, he's sitting there. And he's way smarter and way better than all of the other animals that he was kind of raised by and raised with. And on the flip side, he's now that he's civilized, he sees all these like stupid things that civilized man has made norms, and he's like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
And so he's able to marry the two and become better than both worlds. And I think that that's what the key, like that, this is what I'm saying, right? Like, there's literally Tarzan, the Beast of Tarzan is about how Tarzan creates
The mafia
of animals, dude. He literally just rolling around with a bunch of animals doing stuff. Like, he teaches apes to row the boat kind of deal.
Yeah.
Like, this is some goofy stuff at its wildest, but we're literally over here talking about how Tarzan is the perfect comprehensive man, bringing together both sides of like my passions and my desires, and then my family's needs and wants, and bringing them together so that not only am I fulfilled, not only is my family fulfilled, but I become the man that I need to be to provide for my family, right? Because if I just provide solely for my family, I'm going to become bitter, resentful. There's things in me that will never be fed. If I become, I'm just going full into my passions, they're going to become bitter and resentful, and for good reason. I'd just be the king of the doofuses, like the big selfish jerk. So, I mean, and this is Tarzan we're talking about, right? Like, there's some like a lot more literary men's adventure fiction than Tarzan. But in this,
but it's also ripe for this stuff.
Exactly.
There's so much in it, and you bring up the word king, and that always, it's one of the archetypes in this genre. You know what I mean? Like the whole king archetype. Not doesn't have to wear like a crown and be a king, but like that idea of like they talk about it in The Gentleman with like Guy Ritchie, being the king in your kingdom. Like, what does that mean? And it's they go away. There's this word in, I mean, maybe it's just a word in the English dictionary, not just therapy, but like it was brought up when I was in counseling school a lot. Like generativity is supposed to be like when you're older and you give back, and it's like giving back and being generative like that is kind of the mark of a good king. To your point, like or a good father. It's like it's not just about, oh, let me see how many followers I can get, how many books sold I can get. Let me just give everything. I want to like fulfill my ego so hard. I also need to be giving back to not only like other writers and other people in my life and people I can help in some way, but also your family, your wife. Like, how can you help them feel the most fulfilled for themselves as well? And like there is a sacrificial part of being the king, or like in charge in your world, and being
heavy as the head.
Yeah, dude, like you gotta sacrifice, you gotta pull back. And again, this is all speaking to myself and what I'm dealing with. Of like, I'm trying to find that balance. I'm trying to, yes, I could be and should be and want to be working on my stories or whatever it is for Veritas at the time, but I have to sacrifice. I have to do what is less than like what I want to do right now. If it's like doing the dishes, to your point, or something like that, like clean the house, like just some random task or whatever it is, I got to make sure I'm balancing. I can't overtake and always try to like, I'm on mission focused. I'm doing my thing. It's like just like not.
Right.
That's not good.
To that point, like we've discussed before, like your adventure can't just be doing the dishes or doing all that. Like, obviously that's an aspect, and doing hard things is always a good thing, but being able to be outside, be grounded by doing adventurous things, pushing your bodies to the limit and past it so that you can become the man you need to be, like that's important stuff. That's stuff that should be pursued daily or at least weekly,
Right.
And once again, that's just like something that I'm telling myself, right? Like I need to be. And that gets into what we talked about before with the fitness side of things, right? Like and this is, if you're over here like taking notes, like, all right, what did I learn from the Men's Adventure Fiction podcast this past year? It's like, man, I can't do all of that. And it's not, maybe you knock out two birds with one stone. Go on a walk with your family, right?
Yep.
You're feeding in. When I'm sitting there watching TV and I feel like we could be doing anything else, maybe that's my initiative time to be like, hey, let's go on a long walk. We can spend some time. Maybe we'll bring a ball. My daughter's learning how to catch stuff. Like, all right, I'll just play catch the whole time. Or maybe I'll just throw it down there and she can go run and grab it. And we'll play a little fetch, So it's stuff like that. It's like, find ways to bring things together. Or maybe you're like, oh man, I'd love to tell a story, but I've never done that before. Well, start making up bedtime stories for your kid, stuff like that.
Smart,
You can just...
The integration of the worlds, dude.
Exactly. I think that's I've said to my wife a lot of times, like, it would be so nice to have a job where my adventure need is filled in the day job, you know,
Right.
like something where my life is in danger. So I don't feel like when I get, like, my work is not something that's dragging me down. It's something that's like filling a need, you know. And I do get that. I have a very physical job, so there is an aspect of that. But even still, it's just when you can get things like check boxes off, multiple boxes with
Yeah.
one event, that's always a really good thing to do. So
Can I ask you a question that
Sure.
might take us in a different direction, but I think would be a fun conversation? It's like, what piece of men's adventure fiction content or, you know, whatever lives rent-free for that expression, like in your head, that
Yeah.
is kind of like a gut check or makes you like straighten up a little bit, you know what I mean? Makes you pull out a little bit better version of yourself. Is there any, if you need me to start to kind of paint the picture, I have one that I can share. But
I'll do one real quick because we talked about it and we said it would be a pretty funny line for the start of a novel. But there's one that I know is for sure true, but I can't think of it. And it's right on the tip of my mind. But the one that I was thinking of, we both live in Pennsylvania and we both got the Amber Alert message thing, whatever it was, where it said the 911 dispatch is intermittent for this day and it might be fixed by midnight tonight. And Luke said something like, that's when it's good to have a gun. And I was like, I was working and I'm not allowed to have my gun at work. I said, yeah, but the hell of it is my gun's 15 miles away locked in my car. And Luke was like, that would be a great start to a book. I was like, yeah, it would be. So I think all the time of Chester Drum and Shel Scott, two of the toughest nails private investigators of all time, dude. Probably 3 books out of the 20 that I've read from each of them have them being like, damn it, I really wish I had my gun right now.
Right.
So I think just not necessarily for a gun specifically, but for anything. I mean, I shared on the podcast
Being
before.
ready.
We got those chairs from Facebook Marketplace, and my sister-in-law looked at me. She's like, well, you probably have a screwdriver on you, right? And I was like, I don't. Now I do.
now you do. I was going to say, you have one here right now.
But what was yours?
So, one extra bonus one based on what you were saying is the reason I got my concealed carry was reading The Terminalist, I think was the book, where
yeah.
Jack Carr was like, I'm not going to have my family die because I was too lazy to fill out the paperwork for and I was like,
That hits
all right. And then I got out to, do that because I think it's so easy to be like, nah, I got to go out to the courthouse. I got to do I don't want to do that. It's a lot.
Yeah, I think about that all the time with any sort of martial arts stuff. It's like I got so much stuff already on my docket. How can I make time and money for a weekly training thing?
Right.
It's like, dude, the last thing I want is to be in New York City visiting my sister-in-law and we get jumped by a bunch of people and I don't know how to fight them. That would be terrible.
Right. Yeah, it's confronting things for sure. But the one I was going to go with comes from Hondo.
Okay.
Louis L'Amour.
Yeah.
And I don't know the line exactly offhand, but it's essentially he was saying a good man and a good set of tools should never be sitting down for the day. He can always he can fill the day with the work. And it makes me think
really
all the
good
time
one.
where I'm like, dude, I am just watching a YouTube video right now where I'm just chilling and it's dude, I could be doing so much more for our family, maintaining our lawn better, pulling the weeds. There's so much I should be doing. There are boxes on the porch, take those down or burn them. It's that stuff gets in my head. Sometimes for Hondo and Louis L'Amour being hey, a good man and a good set of tools can definitely find work to do. You could be helping out. So those get me, dude.
Yeah, dude, that's a really good one.
But this is all in a good way. You, to our point earlier, take everything with a caveat and you can take things to extremes. You can definitely do the whole struggle where it gets into I'm good at being a human doing, but I can't just be a human being. I can't just sit and be happy, which is no good. You don't want to be there,
right.
Certainly. But you also don't want to be a complacent, lazier version of yourself than necessary. That's
for sure.
absolutely possible to do as well. So I think about that. And I try to, again, to balance the point of balance. It's is it better to absolutely take yourself to 11 doing everything we're doing for Veritas, but then have 1 to 2 effort for maintaining the house, or is it better to spread those numbers a little more evenly?
Right.
That's what we're trying to figure out and get better at. But.
Yeah, to that point, dude, the week before the film festival, my lawn was probably 8 inches tall. And there's always a part of me that's this is my primal man
Uh-huh.
rejecting, like, all of my neighbors are like, dude, to be civilized, you gotta have
Right.
your lawn mowed. I'm like, no, dude, screw that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a primal man. It's like, dude, is that just an excuse to be a lazy
Right.
sack
That's so
of
funny.
nonsense, dude? Come on, get out of here with that.
Incredible.
So very, very like layered thought there about
Right.
like, I'm revolting against civilization, and then my lawn looks terrible. I'm like, no, dude, that's not the comprehensive man. I don't think.
It's too funny.
I can't think of the one that's on the tip of my mind, but one that's really good, and I really like is it's actually Art of Manliness highlighted it, and it was like how to have the savoir faire of James Bond, I think
Okay.
was the article. Check it out if you haven't before. And it talked about him pushing his body. And so they had like excerpts from the books.
Yeah.
And they had his workout regimen kind of, and then they had him, he took like an ice cold shower followed by a shower at extreme heat, like literally like he would change
Hit
it
the
just
extremes, yeah.
to get his body used to that. And I think that that's something that's like, as I've grown into the man that I am today, and obviously I'm very flawed at this still. Our culture specifically is so obsessed with training the body, but is less obsessed with training the mind. Like
Right,
anxiety
absolutely.
is like running rampant,
I
and
know.
FOMO and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And for me, that kind of rears its head. We actually just talked about this tonight because we had some mango, and mango have urushiol in it, which is the poison in poison ivy, and I'm like ultra allergic to it. And it's been like, there's been times in my life where I would like walk past poison ivy, and I'm so like OCD about it. I would like call my wife and be like, "Yeah, I walked past that poison ivy.
You
Do
think I got it?
you think I got it?" And she'd be like, "Are you out of your mind?" And so there was a moment where it clicked for me like 2 or 3 years ago now, where it was like I realized that my wife always is big on like mental load, and she's like, "I've got a big mental load. When you ask me for help like feeding the girls, that makes my mental load worse." And dude, imagine asking her about if I
Right.
walked past poison ivy.
Right.
I was like, dude, what the hell? My mind is so freaking
Right,
weak.
it's already full right now. I don't got the bandwidth for this. Get out of here.
And so that's like, I realized that it's like, as a man, regardless of if this is a good thing or not, it is good to be strong.
Right.
You know, like I need to have places where I can be vulnerable and be weak, but I also need to have control of my mind.
Right.
Like, if something happens and I do something stupid, I'm not going to sit there and be like, "Oh, please, Caroline, make me feel better and say I wasn't an
Right,
idiot."
right.
It's like, no, dude,
You
you
gotta
were
be
an
able to do
idiot.
that for yourself.
I need to look
Yeah.
myself in the mirror like, that was a really dumb thing to say. Own it, move on, realize that this is a humbling experience, and it wasn't like I got caught doing something incredibly stupid and lost all of my job and stuff. Like,
Right.
like if you have little humbling moments, it'll save you from the big humbling.
The big humbler, yeah, dude.
So this is an opportunity to course correct, right? And I think that that is all brought into play by exercise and working out, right?
Yeah.
Like when I'm hanging there on the bar because I arbitrarily decided that every year I'm going to do one more pull-up than my
Can't do.
birthday, and I'm sitting there like, no, I want to give up. I want to give up. I got to give up. And then you push through. Silly as it sounds, that's my opportunity to be like, "Oh, I walked past poison ivy, did not get it, not a
Right.
shot."
Right.
You know, like I can confidently say that my mind is, my body, my will is stronger than my mind,
Okay.
stronger than my anxiety. Which, and it is tough. I mean, there's obviously clinical cases of anxiety and depression
Right.
that you can't just like willpower your way out of, but it's a good thing to be introspective about and to talk with a therapist about and talk with
Right.
people about around you. It's like, am I being anxious because I have a chemical imbalance, or am I just not being grateful for the things that I have and not controlling my mind and being like, okay, well, this could happen, but it's not going to because it hasn't happened the 1 million other times it could have.
Right.
You know, it's such a tricky balance, but it is a good thing to be introspective to some degree and be like, man, maybe I'm just like being a mental load to my wife.
Yeah.
You know, asking her if poison ivy got me. It's like, dude, shut the hell up. Just get over it. Be a man in a good way. You know?
Right.
Like, be the man you're supposed to be. So I think that that's like pushing yourself physically and controlling your mind in those moments. That's what we talk about before. We talk about it all the time. Like, go to your breaking point and then try to push past it.
Right.
Once you can do that, you can start controlling your mind in crazy situations. Like,
Yeah.
it's if all the world is falling apart around you.
Oh, right. Who can keep their head about them?
Yeah. That story. Like, you're not going to be able to keep your head about you if you're calling up your wife and asking if the poison ivy got you.
Right.
So just stuff like that, I think, has been really, and it's just the comprehensive man, right?
For sure. And there's this, I don't know like which philosopher made this idea, but it's a Stoic philosophy of like the inner citadel. And it's like building your inner citadel and basically like making that mental gymnasium for yourself that you were talking about, of like, I've got to find ways to combat the anxieties or like build up resilience and endurance and like all of these things when I don't need it, so that it's there when I have, like, I made this inner citadel, I made this inner fortress that I can call upon once it's there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, you know, same thing that I brought up before on the podcast, I'm sure, but like physically these things happen where it's like if you're in shape enough, when I got the clots, they were like, if you didn't work out, you'd be dead.
You'd be dead.
Same thing happens mentally. It's like if you don't have the resilience through working out or exposing yourself, like we were talking about earlier, like I don't like talking in public. Now let me go public speak. Like
I'm gonna fumble my words if I don't practice it.
It's like if you don't build these things up, if you don't build that inner citadel, you're going, like if you're put in that position, you're shoved in there, like you're gonna crumble. You're gonna be like, I don't know what to do, you know. But if you build it up when it's not necessary, when it is necessary, you're much better off, dude.
Yeah, it's like another thing from Hondo, right? Was that he was tested against the wilderness outside of him, and also
one of the best lines ever,
inside of him too. Need this.
No, I think I'm.
That gets back to like manufacture challenges for yourself, right? Like, obviously, not to stupid lengths.
Yeah, detrimental.
Like, I feel like you could watch this podcast, but yeah, they told me to go jump off the cliff, and I would make it for sure. Right. So I control my mind. It's like, no, don't be a fool. Don't do something super stupid. I mean, I told Luke one time I was cliff diving in Kilgore Falls, Maryland. If anyone knows where that is not a place you cliff dive. But in like a 6 to 8 foot little width thing, there's a deeper spot. And I was probably like 25 feet up, and I was like, I can make it. And I did. I'm still here. But looking back, it's like, dude, there's no chance.
Yeah, like, I don't want to do that one again.
That was very stupid. Very, very poor choice. So obviously you can manufacture bad things for yourself, or danger for yourself in a way that ends up being bad. But I think that also, I mean, to that point, when I write Nate Colt, there's things that it's like, okay, this is inside of me, right? Like, these ideas are inside of me. And I'm not talking about necessarily the action and adventure, but there's a lot of witty dialogue, right? Mm-hmm. There's like lines, like quick back and forth lines. It's like, okay, if I can write that, I'm capable of saying that in the moment. You know, like I can have a little witty line or a witty remark and say stuff. And when I do that and say those things, it's like, okay, this is me at my best. And that's boiled up and then poured into a Nate Colt adventure. Right? But it's like, it's moments like that where it's like, okay, I've been writing this and I've been practicing this. So now I'm kind of in that headspace of being the hero that I want to be. Yeah. It's like, all right, well, someone says something goofy and I fire right back like, oh yeah, I knew exactly what to say because that's what Nate Colt would have said. Right. You know, it's stuff like that. So not only reading it is good for you, writing it is too.
Definitely. Because, yeah, it's like mental rehearsal, back to the wargaming idea. It's like, yeah, you get to work out on a different level, in a different way, in a more potent way almost, than the reading, where it's like, in the reading, we're wrestling with these concepts, but when you're writing them physically, then it's your subconscious. It's everything specifically for you that you're working out. Yeah. And there's so much, like, to your point, there's so much truth about who you are in the pages of Nate Colt, and that character, and overall that character, but also the ideal, basically, because those things are run parallel. It's like Nate Colt is kind of the image of who you would like to see yourself as, closer to, at least. You know what I mean? Same with like Noah Redford. Like, I just like to see myself closer to what that is. Mm-hmm. And this brings me to like something I think is cool. It's like a roundabout way that is ultimately going to compliment you. Where my therapist, when I had session last Friday or whatever, and I was talking about how we have this trip coming up and stuff, and I was like, it's only the second time I've ever actually met Nate in person. It's going to be, and he asked me a question that I thought was interesting, and I thought about it for a second, he was like, what did you learn about Nathanael, meeting him in person, that you didn't like over online only? And I was thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know. And I came to the conclusion, I was like, it's that I learned that he actually is exactly who he said he was. I was like, he like lived up to like those things. And I told him about how like you like the jumping off the thing and like doing everything, just being game and like actually living up to the ideals. And I was like, yeah, it just confirmed that like he wasn't all talk. And that goes back to your point of like you have to put the physical work into that. If you don't do the pull-ups, like I've seen you, we talked about your workout today to Casey to show him what it is. It's like if you don't do that every day, you're not going to have those results. You're not going to be able to live up to that. So good on you for
thanks, dude.
you know, showing that this concept and the theories that he's talking about here, it's like true. Like
I really appreciate that. That's a very, very high praise. And it is also true of you. I'm not just saying.
Nice.
I mean, we were out there. Luckily, we got to do some swimming, and he's out there throwing punches in the water, and he taught me a sick trick. Dude. If you're punching, you ever have to punch someone in the water? He said to punch like this because it shoots through the water faster.
Way faster.
This guy knows the stuff. Man. He's the real deal. So it's cool to be to read the ideal of a comprehensive man, write the ideal of the comprehensive man, but all of that is practice and training to strive to be the comprehensive man. Obviously, neither of us are there.
Right, no.
And we're both very young, so we're going to keep striving and keep fighting to become the comprehensive man.
Right.
But I think maybe being the comprehensive man is always trying.
Right, always being in motion, always being in growth.
Exactly. Like the idea of like, I said something really stupid. Course correct, right?
Right.
Like, I could just keep being stupid. That is not being the comprehensive man. I could keep making my wife's mental load 3 times as hard.
And never thinking about it and being like, I need the reassurance. Good way. I gotta say it.
So I think that's the concept, dude. And it's so cool to be on the journey with you. I mean, a year into a podcast talking about this. We should just change it to the comprehensive man.
Right. Speaking of the comprehensive man, dude, should we read our ideals, dude?
Let's do it.
Get a little chapter 1 and 8 first, yeah?
Hell yeah, man. So we'll do this just because this is what it's all about.
Right. It all comes down to men's venture fiction.
Let's see.
And our contribution.
This might be buckle up. We're in here for the
Buckle
long
up. This is our 1-year episode. We're having a good time. This is a special episode. Dude, smoking the stove in Florida, reading the Nate Colt. What a vibe right here.
I swirled my drink and took a sip, then glanced around the room. Before me, countless people stood, dressed their best, rubbing elbows, enjoying themselves. I took a puff from my cigar.
There it is.
And smiled. The owner of the luscious 32,000 square foot mansion I was standing in held up her glass and with a fork clinked it, calling all the guests' attention to her and slowing the heavy drum of the chatter to a small trickle and then to complete silence. I want to thank you all for spending your afternoon here at the Drumore estate, said the Lady Drumore, who, for being on the wrong side of 50, was nearly as luscious as her estate. Wavy brown hair of shoulder length framed a sharply featured face and neck which flowed into a very fit and well-curved body. Her dress stunned you, revealing just enough to keep your interest, but not enough to keep it too long. Your time here will be well invested just by showing your face. Today we have gathered here some of the sharpest blades on the cutting edge of our industry. The industry being crime, more or less. If you're here for a reason. If this was true of me, I couldn't quite wrap my head around what such a reason could be. So make yourselves at home, drink up, eat up, and don't be afraid to indulge. That indulge was punctuated with a microscopic lean forward and an ever so slight shake of her torso. In fact, it was so subtle that it could have been deemed insignificant. If you hadn't been drawn in by the lean, you would have noticed the shake and the result. Well, maybe that's not true. Other than me, I'm almost certain the words insignificant and Ladies Drumore torso had never occupied the same thought, let alone the same sentence. Mr. Colt, the tinkle of a very pretty voice cooed behind me. I turned to see another woman of whom the word insignificant could never be a descriptor. She was tall, about 2 inches shorter than my 5'11", and her creamy white skin was hidden beneath a see-through black top, covered, where it mattered, by a silk-clinging dress. And boy, was it clinging. But in all fairness, I would have been clinging too. I tore my eyes from below her neckline and locked on to the beautiful blue eyes and a face that would have editors begging for it to grace the cover of their magazines. Yes, she smiled as she returned the inspection, taking in my fairly well-muscled 180 pounds, hidden away in a midnight blue dinner jacket. She looked past the slight distortion under my left arm from the shoulder holster and then found her way up to my dark brown eyes. Her attention and appraisal then flitted to the short brown hair and the clean-shaven face, which isn't too hard to look at, if I do say so myself. At that moment, this goddess seemed to be of the same mind. "I've heard a lot about you," she said. "All good things, I hope. Let's just say the term handsome devil seems to sum you up well, but even with the emphasis on the devil part of that phrase, you strike me as a little straight-laced for a party of this sort." "And what sort is that?" I responded. I could sense that we both knew the answer, but my interest had been piqued, wondering if this woman was bold enough to speak it outright. "Crime, Mr. Colt. This is a party of crime, and all of us here are a party to crime. And is this the case for you as well? Please, call me Nate. As far as crime is concerned, I try my best not to limit myself to the full restraint of the law, but I found it best for business to break it only as needed and never with a wanton disregard." I felt like I had to catch my breath after that sentence. It looked like she did too. "As I said, too straight-laced for such a party," the goddess said, something akin to admiration crossing the beautiful face. I held up the cigar in a mock toast and puffed away. The beautiful voice caressed a gentle laugh that poured out between plump, full lips with a generous mirth, almost as generous as the ample curves the dress clung to. Almost. "You can call me Jack, and Nate, I do hope you'll call me." As she said this, her hand slipped into my jacket and brushed my chest. I felt her place something in my jacket pocket. She also deftly tapped the butt of the Beretta that sat heavily in the comfortable shoulder holster I wear most of the time, in most circumstances, and all of the time when I'm at a party to crime. She floated away, and I couldn't hide the smile that crept across my lips. I checked the Beretta. It was still there, and the magazine was still in it. She had a light touch, and after she had used it on me, I wished I could experience it a little more. But even still, one can never be too careful. I pulled out the item she left behind. It was a thick business card, heavyweight paper, nearly a fabric. Bright red lettering in an easy-to-read script said, "Jacqueline Delagrato, Acquisitions Artist," with a phone number, email, and physical address in the same script below. Acquisition Artist. I liked that. I couldn't help but wonder if it was trademarked. I turned back to the event at hand, and to my pleased surprise, the woman of the hour was off the stage and standing less than 15 feet from me. Her eyes locked on to mine, and she dazzled me with a smile. It made a fella feel mighty special that she'd shine that light of 32 pearly whites on you. If she kept it up, I was going to start feeling a little more than just special. "Mrs. Drumore, I'm honored to be here." "Mr. Colt, the honor is mine." I knew she had invited me, but I didn't expect to know me by sight. "Would you care to join me in my office? I have a few things I'd like to discuss before the night ends," she delivered in a way that didn't seem like a question. "Oh, most certainly, although from my understanding, isn't the night just beginning?" "Yes, of course, but some things would be better checked off my list than left lingering until the end of the night. Business before pleasure, if you will." "Well, we'll have to discuss whatever the business is first before I will or will not." She chuckled softly. "Delightful, just as I've heard. Follow me, please." She led the way up the main stairs, and I saw several anxious eyes lock onto me. I felt a slight chill in between my shoulder blades as I turned my back on the jealous criminals. I could practically feel the stares of countless cold-hearted bastards who had all dreamt of being led up the stairs by the lady of the Drumore estate. But, brother, the hell of it was, I couldn't stop thinking about Jackie.
Hell yeah, dude. I love it. I love just the voice of Nate Colt. I'd hang out with that guy in any type of book, even if he was just going to get his Sunday coffee and go to a bookstore, walk around, which makes it that much better because you have like I attribute it to like noir, like that kind of style, like the pace of writing, and that's why when I first read your work before we even knew each other really, I thought you were like big noir guy. I thought you were like maybe the next Raymond Chandler. I thought that was like your thing, but then I didn't realize, and in this book you might not realize at this point, that we're going to go to some of the highest adventure places in modern writing, which is amazing to see that character and that kind of writing taken to that world. I think that's what I love, and I think you do so well, and appreciate you for writing so that we have this kind of blend of the worlds.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. It's a fun story, so I hope you enjoy. But now we're going to get on to an even more fun story with Fire in the Tall Grass, dude. Absolute incredible high adventure as well. So you want to lay out the first chapter on him?
Yes, I do. And you're going to get some sultry morning voice with it.
That's what it's all about, baby.
The deeper version of my voice with this one. All right. I'm reading it off my computer, so.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to
Just pull it up and I'll take it away. Alright, guys. Prepare to be somewhat amazed. Noah Redford's world plummeted with the uncontrollable descent of his failing aircraft. The control stick might as well have been cast in stone, defying his every ounce of strength. The plane was in a nosedive that he could not correct. The mad rush of wind worked to shed the wings and any last hopes for the pilot. Amidst the black tendrils of smoke flooding the cockpit, Noah braced for the inevitable. In seconds, the engulfing darkness seized him entirely, urging action. Survival hinged upon how the aircraft would greet the battlefield below. Parachutes were too heavy to fly with. Through the swirling gloom, a jagged line of the Marne River flickered on his left. It wasn't salvation, but it beat the inferno brewing behind him. Gasoline seeped through his uniform, the acrid stench stinging his nose. Burning alive was not on the menu if he could help it. The river was his only chance, slim though it was. The earth hurtled toward him like a viper's strike. No more time to think. Noah wrestled with his lap belt, clamoring to stand. An attempt to dive free was thwarted by the furious wind, which seized him with unrelenting force, flinging the pilot into the unforgiving void. Those few seconds of free fall felt like a lifetime before the water broke his legs and the marshy ground cracked his ribs. Adrenaline surged, keeping consciousness intact as he watched his plane crumple and burst apart in the field of mud and ash ahead of him. A voice, a familiar one, harsh and unyielding, growled in his mind. The same voice that pushed him to rise in the ring, to always stand toe-to-toe. Move, Redford, now. Its command was very clear. He could not yield, could not stay down, despite the searing pain. Early reconnaissance had shown him the tanks, hulking shadows crawling through the mist like steel predators on the hunt. The waterlogged ground clung to him as he clawed at it, fingers sinking into the mud for any purchase. Handfuls of muck and slop gave way as Noah dragged himself forward, his strength dwindling inch by agonizing inch. Above him the air trembled with the orchestra of war, the staccato rattle of machine guns, the bone-shaking thud of artillery, and the sharp cracks of rifles exchanging death across the battlefield. The rhythm was relentless, punctuated by screams of young men whose lives were snatched away before they could even cry out. Noah pressed his face to the earth, the scent of wet soil and blood filling his lungs as he crawled, his breath shallow, his throat dry as sandpaper. His one comfort, his solitary ally, was the weathered M1 1911. 7 rounds in the magazine, 7 prayers clutched tightly in his trembling hands. Ahead, the salvation of the Allied trenches beckoned, a mere 50 yards away, but as distant as another world. Each torturous pull forward sent molten agony ripping through his fractured legs, sweat and pain blurring his vision. A gasp escaped his lips before he could stop it. A sound swallowed by the chaos, but sharp enough to draw notice. From the haze, an enemy soldier turned his eyes, locking onto Noah. Without hesitation, the man broke into a sprint, his bayonet gleaming like a dagger of fate, aimed directly at the prone pilot. Noah forced himself to stay calm, though his heart thundered in his chest. He waited, his gaze unblinking, measuring the distance between them. The enemy was too far. Noah's aim, dazed and unsteady from the crash, wasn't reliable. The soldier closed in, raising the rifle to fire, and Noah felt the shift in the air. There was no more time to wait. Noah's hand tightened on the pistol, and he fired. A single, deafening crack that sent the enemy crumpling to the ground. It wasn't enough to end the fight, but it bought him a few precious seconds. Noah gritted his teeth, sparing a glance at the fallen soldier before resuming his crawl, the mud swallowing him once more. Each inch was a battle, his mind repeating the same mantra: keep moving, keep fighting, stay alive. The wounded soldier clawed through the muck, his trembling hands finding his rifle buried in the mire. Noah still had yards to crawl, his every move haunted by the cold arithmetic of survival. 6 bullets left, and only one chance at spending them. The soldier steadied his weapon, rising slightly, his bloodied face appearing like an omen of death. Ignoring the venomous sting in his legs, Noah surged forward, his body a coil of savage fury. With a feral growl, He slammed his hand against the rifle's handguard, forcing the barrel toward the ground. Mud sprayed as the weapon sank to the earth. Closing the distance, their eyes locked, one pair defiant, the other burning with desperation. Noah didn't hesitate. He swung the butt of his pistol in a vicious arc, the crunch of bone reverberating in his ears as the blow connected. The enemy thrashed wildly, a feral struggle erupting. Fingers clawing at Noah's face like a trapped animal, nails tore at his forehead and gouged near his eyes, blinding him with pain and blood. Noah countered with a short, brutal uppercut, his knuckles smashing into flesh and bone, followed by a hook that left the man reeling. They grappled like beasts caught in a violent scramble. The soldier pushed with desperate strength. Noah pulled with unyielding force. The fight devolved into chaos. Redford could feel his opponent weakening. He just about had the upper hand. Then came the blade. A cold, sharp intrusion that drove deep into Noah's back. Pain erupted like fire, stealing his breath, his strength faltering. A hand slammed against his shoulder. He braced for another attack, but the world shifted violently. Noah jolted awake, his scarred shoulder gripped tightly. The wall of the Tanganyika hunting camp loomed around him, firelight flickering against the canvas. Taleb Rami stood over him, a look of urgency on his face. "The lion, it has struck again," Taleb said, his voice low but insistent. "We must move."
Dude, too stinking good. It's crazy to have the first chapter be like pulls you into a different genre entirely, and then you jump right into this high adventure story, and you're like, dude, I gotta know. Like, this is just too good. Everything is set up perfectly to just really like pull you in, because you obviously get the story you need to from the war section, and then you're right into, dude, like, what's happening with the lion, man? This is crazy stuff. So good, so good.
Thanks, man. You just had to lay the groundwork for him flying a plane and being capable enough to be brought on board for the adventure in chapter 3, I think, it's chapter 3.
Yeah, it's incredible work, and the story just gets even crazier from there. I mean, just insane action sequences, insane classic adventure, high adventure aspects to it. Really, really well done.
That's what it's all about, dude. Sorry, the morning voice / brain did not read that third. But you guys can pick it up and read it on your own pretty good.
Yeah, they're two really fun books. There are series characters, so you will be seeing more Nate, Colt, and Noah Redford in the future. So
yeah, we do. We have them, and you and I are both kind of in the works on one right now for our series
for
characters.
sure.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But I guess to kind of wrap up this episode, an incredible opportunity, 52 weeks of doing this, having the chance to talk with you guys about the content that we love, men's adventure fiction, high adventure, pulp, westerns, the whole thing, man. It's been incredible. So for the end segment today, we wanted to highlight our personal favorite episodes, which is tough because we had some incredible guests on, we had some incredible topics we talked about, but we both picked one episode to bring to the table. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
Sure, I can go first.
All right, go ahead.
I think my favorite episode has to be a recent one of the Beau L'Amour two-parter.
Yeah.
Simply because it was like, for many reasons. I mean, the episode itself is incredible. We had a great conversation that taught me a lot about the genre and just made me, as a fan, just love every second of that, hearing it. So, but more than that, I like what it kind of represents for the podcast and what we're after in the community. It's like you and I just meeting over Instagram. I would have never ever thought that, give it a year and we'd be talking together to our favorite, one of the favorite for years, but he's my favorite author.
Yeah.
Never thought we'd be talking to his son together.
Crazy
about
stuff.
This genre, it's that kind of thing. I never pictured this being the case, and making that happen, and being able to see that reality unfold, and kind of like the whole idea that it is possible, and we can just grow this thing and connect with people that we didn't even realize we could. I think that's so cool and inspiring for not just you and me and what we're doing, but everybody, and the Veritas way of like, the doors are down, you can make things happen, you can take a shot at what you want to do. Because, man, of course we would want to be having this conversation with Beau L'Amour. And didn't even think it would be possible, but then it happened. It's like, man, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep trying,
Right. Yeah, dude.
That's my favorite episode.
Very well said. That episode is hard to beat. I mean, it's also 2 in 1, right, dude? You get a massive long episode talking about some of the craziest parts of the genre. What's cool is your whole kind of description of why you like it so much is the reason why I picked the episode that I'm picking. And my favorite episode would be the episode where we read, I think it was 7 short stories. And this was right after the Discord had kind of really started kicking off. And we had submissions from everybody who was in there and who was interested in writing for the writing prompts. We have weekly writing prompts in there, so if you love to write, jump in there, and we will get those rolling again. And we got to read them, and it was exactly what you said, the Veritas way, the opportunity that's been presented to us with this podcast and with the internet the way that it is now is we literally had a full episode of like radio dramas from the golden era of pulp stuff. Like I added in music and sound, and I was reading these high adventure, high action, crazy stories. I mean, there was crime, there was espionage, there was a little bit of like horror. It was just so much fun to read. These stories that people just like, I mean, literally listeners of the podcast, they found the Discord and they wrote these stories, and we got to read them on air and tell stories of people who understand the genre, who love the genre, who are passionate about the same things that we're passionate about. So I think it was a perfect example of like, that was maybe the first time that I thought like, okay, this is the new pulp era. Like, this is the pulp era of the 1920s to 50s, but it's now. Like, people are hungry for this content, and they're excited to produce this type of content, and that's what it's all about. So, super exciting stuff, and really cool to have. Because like I said 1,000 times before, I really love audiobooks. So to have stories that you guys produced read as audiobooks was just so cool. I really, really love that.
Yeah, what a great episode to pick. To your point, that was the community at work showing the power of like the modern pulp fans and how they can really resurrect the genre to where, you know, back to its golden age, and we can kind of take adventure fiction back to glory, you know?
Right.
Blood and Treasure also helping that, so make sure to pick this bad boy up. July 22nd, if this, you know, if you haven't pre-ordered it, that's the day you're going to go out and be able to buy it. So,
right,
all of it.
Exactly. It's beautiful. It's an awesome thing, and it's crazy that it's been 52 weeks of talking about this. And I mean, we're here. We're not going anywhere anytime soon. So it's not like, oh yeah, here's the 52 more. It's like here's the 5,200 more. We're just gonna keep rocking and rolling. And as long. Even if you guys stop watching, dude, I'm gonna hop on here and talk with my good buddy LS Good.
Don't worry about that.
Dude, don't forget about it. The Void will get as much men's adventure fiction content as we can create now. So we're very happy.
We do appreciate you sticking around and indulging us and feeding into the conversation with the comments in the Discord. It makes it that much richer, that much better, and it grows us as readers and fans of the genre as well. Like, each one of you guys comes from a different angle and background. You know stories that I don't. You'll speak to an appreciation that I don't get, like the Tarzan thing we talked about earlier. Like, we're each helping each other discover other things. So I love that about the community as well. So appreciate you guys for 52 weeks of helping me feed this love even more.
Right. To that point, I mean, Luke and I both had our stories read in that short story episode, but the rest of them were all stories that you guys wrote. So that's the thing. Like Luke said, you guys read stuff that we don't read. You also write stuff that we are unable to write. You have your own voice and your own passions. So keep creating content, because there's at least 2 dudes right here who are hungry to keep reading it. And that's what it's all about. It's just a celebration of this genre that we love so much, so dearly, and where it's been, where it's going, and where it is right now. That's what it's all about. That's why we're here. So thank you guys so much for joining in.
Yeah, thank you guys. You can hear my kids are excited about it. There's some screaming
Hell yeah,
going
dude.
on. Adventure fiction is back, dude.
Yeah. And it's not going away anytime soon, and neither are we. So thank you guys so much. You gents don't want to do this.
Why is that, Butch?
He is one mean hombre.
Lickety split with those 6 guys.
Those banditos won't get that man.
No one robs my train on my watch.
Take this. Find this. There it is. Luckily for you, you won't have to go through half of what I went through to get your copy. All you have to do is place an order. Treasure is My Trade is out now. Don't miss your chance.